If you are able to write the solution for the challenge, then feel free to skip this video and directly move to the next video. But if you are not able to solve it, then let's write the solution together. So before we jump to the solution, let's first process the information that we have. We know the pizza rates in the restaurant is if a person orders only one slice, then he has to pay $8. If he orders either two or three slices, then he has to pay $7 per slice. And if he orders more than three slices, then it's $6 per slice. Let me put all these in comments so that we have this information handy. Now let's also note down how many slices each person ordered. We know Ross ordered three slices, Chandler ordered one slice only, and Joy ordered four slices. So first let me store the slice information or the slice rate card in integer variables. And since this slice rate card will never change, I'm going to store them as constants. So let's create three constant integer variables here to store our rate card. Let's modify the integer value here. So if they orders up to three slices, then the rate card is $7 per slice. And if they order more than three slices, then it's $6 per slice. So these are constants that will never change their value. And now let's store the information about Ross, Chandler, and Joy's order. Again, we are going to store them in integer variables. Now we need a logic that can simply accept the amount of slices a person has ordered and give us the order value in return. So let's build that logic. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use combination of operators. And here, let's take rows as an example. First, we'll check if the rows order value is equals to 1 or not. If it is not, then is it less than 4? If no, then is it greater than 3? So we need all these three conditions. So let's copy rows order here and simply check if it's equals to 1. So here we are going to use our equality operator. And if this returns true, so that means if Rose has ordered exactly one slice, then the bill amount will be this one, only one slice star. We are going to use our multiplication operator here, Rose order. So this will be like $8 multiplied by 1. So the final amount will be $8 only. But what if Rose did not order exactly one slice? Then we need to handle that part in else condition where this condition evaluates to false. And here we need to use nested ternary operator because we still have two conditions left where we need to check if the amount of slices is like 2 or 3 or is it like more than 3. So here you can directly check if Ross order is less than or equals to 3, and this condition will again give you either true or false. So here again we can use our ternary operator, and then if this part of the condition is true, then we need to apply this rate card. So simply copy the rate card and I'm gonna put it in new line. So let's do that and simply multiply it by the number of slices. So multiply by the rows order. And then if this condition is also false, so let's handle that in another false here. So what we need to do, we simply need to multiply the rows order with the last rate card that we have. So it doesn't matter if he orders 4 slices or 10 slices or 20 slices, the rate card will remain same. So that's why we'll directly apply this rate card. So let's use this rate card and multiply it by the Ross's order. Cool. So we have got our logic here. Let me explain it again. And this time I'm going to put some parentheses in between as well so that it's easy to understand. So first we are checking if Ross has ordered exactly one slice. If that's the case, then we'll apply our one slice rate card. If that's not the case, then we are using our colon here, which means if this condition evaluates to false, and after that we are putting another condition. So this will be another ternary operator. So we can call it a nested ternary operator. I'm going to put parentheses here so that you can easily understand it. And here we are again checking if Ross's order is less than or equals to 3. If that's the case, then we'll apply our up to 3 slices rate card. But if this is also false, then we are using our colon again. And this time we are applying our last rate card. So I think this logic is correct. And let's try to run it on Ross's order and find out how much amount does he has to pay. So let's store this in an integer variable because ultimately this total expression is going to give us an integer in return. So let's create one more integer variable here and let's call it Ross has to pay this much amount, and the amount will come from this expression. And let's print Ross's amount in a debug statement. And here you can simply write Ross has to pay let's copy our variable, put it in the debug log, and that's it. Let's try to execute our code. So Ross has to pay $21, which is correct. Because if you order 2 or 3 slices, then you need to pay $7 per slice. And since Ross ordered 3 slices, the total amount becomes 7 multiplies by 3, and that's 21. So our logic is fine and it's giving us correct value. But this is not a generic logic because it's always going to process over Ross's order. If you want to process over Chandler's order, then you need to build the same logic and replace this variable, the Ross's order variable, with the Chandler's order, right? So what we can do, we can create another variable here and let's call it number of slices. And first let's give it a 0. And now we'll process over Ross, Chandler, and Joy one by one. So let's comment here, calculate Ross amount. So what we are going to do, we are going to put the number of slice for Ross equals to the Ross order. So this will become 3. And in our logic here, we'll replace this Ross order variable with number of slice variable so that we don't have to change the variable in our logic all the time. That should give us the correct value. And next time when you are going to check it on Chandler's order, let's comment here, you simply need to change the number of slices equals to Chandler's order, and then you can simply copy rest of the code. And here you can simply say Chandler has to pay, and the same we need to put here as well and here as well. We can copy this again, and this time we are going to check for Joy. Let's copy Joy's order from here and change our number of slices to Joy's order. So let's execute it and check it out. So there we go. Now we know how much amount Ross has to pay, how much amount Chandler has to pay, and how much amount Joy has to pay. Brilliant guys, you did it. Now, there are so many ways to improve this code because right now we are doing a lot of copy paste, which is not required. We have to write our logic only once and then we can simply call our logic whenever we want it. But here we are printing this every time. We are copying this logic all the time whenever we want to calculate a new order amount. So this can be easily modified with the help of methods. But since we haven't learned about methods yet, we are going to leave it as is. But we can modify few things here. We can get rid of these variables, and when we are calculating Ross's amount, we can simply set it to 3. Here we can simply set it to 1, and here we can simply set it to 4. So this way, at least our code looks cleaner. We got rid of 3 variables that we were not actually using. They were simply storing some values, which we can simply change directly when we are assigning new values to our number of slices variable. And this should give you the same result. So I hope you enjoyed this challenge. So keep practicing these challenges. These are small enough so they don't scare you away from the technology. And at the same time, they help you revise all the concepts that you have learned in your previous videos. And always give it a serious try multiple times and search on the Google if you stuck somewhere. And only after that, watch the solution video because the real learning happens when you do it by your own, or at least when you try to search it on your own.